Welcome back, everyone. This time, our lecture will be focusing on 1D arrays. Okay, as you can see here, we'll also be discussing strings as arrays, the combination of 1D arrays and functions, and some basic searching and sorting methods using 1D arrays. Alright, so let's start this. If you recall, we have various data types classified into either simple, structured, or pointers. Yung simple, we have already discussed that from our previous modules, which include yung integers, floating point data types, and your floating data types. This time, we'll be focusing on another kind of uh, data type. This is the structured data type. Okay, in a structured data type, yung bawat data natin is stored into a structure into a certain structured data type. Okay, meaning yung mga simple data types na we're more familiar with are used to build a structure of these data types. Okay, let's look at this example 5a-1. As you can see from this program, ang ginagawa nito, may uh, five declared integer variables, test 0 to test 4, and then a double variable named average. Okay, as you can see, it asks the user to enter 5 test scores, and then these test scores will be stored in each of these integer variables, test 0 until test 4, right? Okay, after asking for that 5 test scores, ang gagawin ng program natin is it calculates, okay, the average by adding all the test values or test scores and divide that sum by 5. Okay, and then ipiprint niya yung sum na yun, yung average na yun, and then ang isa pang gagawin ng program natin is to test, okay, or to check if each of those test scores is below yung average score na mako-compute. Okay, if below nga, ipiprint niya ito. Okay, ipiprint niya yung message na yung test score na yun is below average. Right? So, ang expected natin na output would be like this. Enter 5 test scores. I-enter ng user yung 5. And then it shows the calculated average test score. And then, i-display nyo lang yung mga scores na lower than that average, which in this case are 65 and 60. Okay? Ang question, what if meron kang large amount of data? Hindi lang 5 yung test scores natin. Let's say 100 test scores. These what do you call this? This code or this structure of code would be impractical or inconvenient kasi kung 100 yung yung data points mo, 100 na test scores na variables yung i-declare mo, and then 100 din na if statements, right? So this would become very impractical for 100 test scores, right? So but if you look at each, meron naman tayong makukuhang pattern di ba? May 5 variables tayong dineclare kasi 5 yung test scores natin. Tapos, yung mga scores na mas mababa doon yung kailangan i-print. Pero yung lahat ng test scores natin, same yung data type, isa lang, integer. Pa. Okay, integer lang. And then, yung mga pag-declare dito sa variables na yun, may pattern din, di ba? Parang same lang, halos same lang yung name, nagbabago lang yung number. 0, test 1, test 2, hanggang test 4. So, yun lang yung differences nila. And yung mga if statement natin, pare-parehos lang din, di ba? Nagbabago lang ito. Okay, yung variables na kung saan nakastore yung test scores natin. But basically, the syntax are all similar. So, pwedeng maging convenient yan kahit malaki yung or marami yung test scores natin. How? Okay, pwedeng, number 1, yung last character natin, di ba, yun lang naman differences ng mga variables natin. Gawin natin variable. Gawin natin counter variable. And since may counter tayo, we'll be using loops. So, we'll be using a for loop to count from 0 to 4 para sa pag-read nung variables, ay nung test scores. And then storing, so each variable. And then another for loop para ma-process yung mga if statements. Diba, pare-parehas lang naman yung statements na yan. Okay, since nga pare-parehas lang naman yung variable type natin na integer, specify mo na lang kung ilan yung variables na kailangan i-declare tsaka yung data type na specific. Tapos din lang kailangan i-brute force lahat isa-isa. Okay? Basically, naka-loop na siya. Okay, and how do we do this? We use arrays, which will be our main focus for today. Alright, let's start with the discussion on how to access yung mga arrays natin, specifically our one-dimensional arrays for this module. So let's start with the definition of arrays. This is simply a collection, okay? May collection tayo ng fixed number of elements. So, the definite number yung elements natin. And yung elements na yun, they are of the same data type. And ang storage nila sa memory space are contiguous, meaning dikit-dikit or magkakatabi sila. Okay? So again, ang 1D array natin is an array that are arranged, in which yung mga components natin are arranged in list form. Okay? So its syntax is simply data type. Okay, kung ano man yung data type ng lahat ng laman ng array natin. And then the name of the array name, and int exp, meaning the number of elements ng array natin. Okay, so yung int exp na yan should contain an expression, okay, or a constant, which is an integer. Okay, yung expression natin pwede rin maging expression ng yan as long as it evaluates to a positive integer. Okay, hindi pwedeng negative, and hindi pwedeng hindi integer. Alright? Let's just illustrate kung ano yung itsura ng memory allocation for an array. Let's say you have int num5, meaning you have an integer na array with name num with 5 elements, right? So expect 5 elements. Okay, discuss natin mamaya itong mga indices na to, but for now, we have 5 elements that are contiguous or dikit-dikit yung memory space nila. Okay, you can list it down vertically or horizontally. Okay, pare-parehas lang. So these are just different figures which illustrate yung mga arrays natin. Okay, as long. Ang important lang dito is adjacent sila with each other. Okay? So how do we access the components of our array? Meaning, paano natin consider or what do you call this? I-access basically yung isang component ng ating array. Okay, ang gagamitin natin dyan is yung index expression. Okay, index expression natin or yung index, so ini-specify niya kung alin yung element na gusto natin from our array. Okay, so let's say okay, as you can see dito sa second bullet, yung array indices natin always start at 0. Okay, as you can see dun sa figures kanina, laging 0 yung index ng first element natin. Okay, so yung array indices natin start at 0, tapos itong to call this bracket na to is called an array subscripting operator. Okay, so basically if you want to access or kunin yung fourth element ng array mo, you simply use an index of 3, di ba? So it starts with 0. So yung fourth element or component ng array mo is ma-access using an index of 3. Okay, more examples sa next slide. Let's say int size equals 10. Basically, you have a size, okay, initialized with the value of integer 10. And then you declared a variable list, tapos may bracket, meaning this is an array. Okay, an array of integers. So, since size ito, which is equal to 10, okay, yun yung size ng array natin na list. So that we expect this array to have 10 elements or 10 components. Okay? So basically, ayan na siya yung laman niya. After mo i-declare, meron ka ng an array with a name list with 10 elements. Okay, wala pang laman kasi hindi pa naman initialized. Okay, so when you say list with index 5, that's the 6th element. So, i-store mo or yung laman ng 6th element ng ating array will contain 34. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, tama, sixth element. Okay? Okay, int I equals 3. Okay, nag-declare ng integer I initialized with the value of 3. So list I equals 10. So list index 3. So that's the fourth element. Magsistore siya ng value of 10. Okay? And then yung seventh element stores a value of 35. And then yung sixth element, just add yung laman ng list 3 or yung fourth element and the seventh element. So that's 45. So basically ito yung mangyayari. Ito yan. Ito yan. And then yung sum nila, 45. Alright? So yun ang ibig sabihin ng mga indices natin. Alright? That ends actually the introduction to arrays. For our next content, I will be discussing yung basic processing natin and initialization and declaration ng arrays. So for now, goodbye and thank you.